Welcome back to your third favorite series on YouTube, where we talk about weapons inside of a video game. Previously, in this little video series that we started, we talked about the best hand cannons and the best auto rifles. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the good old, tried and true, introduced in Destiny 2, SMGs. For those of y'all that didn't play Destiny 1, there were no SMGs in that game. Just wanted to say that. I miss you, Atheon's Epilogue. Come back. That was my favorite paper shredder auto rifle back in the day. But we're talking about SMGs now. A big shout out to Kung Lao in the comments for requesting the SMGs. The next video in the series that we're going to do after SMGs is going to be bows. So if you like the series, feel free to leave a comment below on the weapon class you want us to do after bows. I do plan on eventually getting to all of the weapon classes, but these videos take a little bit of time. Also, my beautiful people, if you ever want to get your games in their DLC for a cheaper price, you make sure you head over to Instant Gaming, the toppest link in the description, as well as their free monthly game giveaway that they do in the second link of the description. Because who doesn't like saving themselves a little bit of cheddar? Also, real quick, for all my fellow cheeseheads in the comments section, I am also still recovering from last night's game. And to all the Lions fans that might be watching this video, just remember one thing. Last night was your Super Bowl solely because you beat us on our home field. You guys still have 0 Super Bowls, no division titles since the early 90s, and 0 road playoff wins since 1957. After being so terrible for 50 plus years, you're bound to have at least one decent season. All right, let's talk about some SMGs. And we start in the Darkness family of SMGs. Now, keep in mind, when using a Stasis or a Strand weapon that's in your kinetic slot, it is going to do less damage than a kinetic. And thanks to you guys in the comment section, I was reminded that it's not minus 15% on primaries, it's only minus 10% compared to a kinetic weapon. The 15% that I was getting is from special weapons in the kinetic slot. So for instance, a Strand or Stasis shotgun is going to do 15% less damage than a kinetic shotgun. But a Stasis or Strand SMG is only going to do 10% less than a kinetic SMG. Now, that being said, our Stasis SMG of choice is going to be the Prolonged Engagement, which is a Vanguard SMG introduced in Season 19, Season of the Seraph. I know some people are probably going to like the Season 21 SMG. I'm a pass on that one, big dog. I'll take my Stasis Funnel Web all day, every day. Now, the thing about this SMG is because it's a Vanguard weapon, you know that perk pool is going to be kind of fat. Look at it. Look at all those perks, bro. Damn. Yeah, fighting RNG for the good roll on this SMG, it can be a little bit of a pain in the butt. However, in the third column, the main PvE perks that I'll recommend to you are definitely going to be Subsistence and Feeding Frenzy. The SMG that I'm using in the background is a total cope roll with 4 times the charm in the third column. However, in the fourth column, my favorite perk, my main desired perk, is Frenzy, which luckily I do have that on this SMG in the background. However, you may want to try Target Lock for some of those healthier enemies. Might not be too bad. And then Surrounded will also give you a 40% damage buff if it's proc. I still prefer Frenzy just because you get a lot of bang for your buck with that perk. You get a lot of benefits for literally just playing the game, basically. You get 15% increased damage, 100 handling, and 100 reload speed while Frenzy is active. Really good perk. I think the Prolonged Engagement's pretty good, but I do think there are better options in the kinetic slot. However, out of all the Stasis SMGs, this is the one that I gotta go with. All right, boys, we're going from crystals to string again. We're talking about the Strand SMG. Look, there's only 2 Strand SMGs in the game. The one on Neomuna is a 600. It sucks. So by default, the Immortal takes a spot. Now, we all know that the Immortal is an absolute terrorizer in PvP and had its absolute reign of dominance back in Season 20. If we pull up this gun's perk pool, you'll see that there's just so many good PvP stuff, but, you know, we're talking PvE here, so I'm trying to look at some PvE perks that we could work with. The one in the background gameplay I'm using as Threat Detector and Hatchling, maybe in the third column, bro. Keep away rangefinder's not bad, you know. I feel like Threat Detector's still pretty good in PvE as well. And then in the fourth column, yeah, Target Lock could still be pretty good for some of those healthier enemies. I, mentioned that for the Stasis one. But it also does have Hatchling if you want to run, try and make some extra thread links. Kill Clip, I feel like that's a PvP perk. And it also has Demolitionist in the fourth column as well. We ain't doing no Focus Fury on an SMG. No shot, buddy. Unfortunately, since Strand is still a relatively new element added to the game, we don't have as many weapons that are Strand to choose from compared to every other weapon type, or weapon element rather, affinity, whatever adjective you want to use. So I feel like whenever we get an actual true PvE Strand SMG with some more PvE friendly perks. A lot of people will start using that over the Immortal in PvE, but for now, the Immortal's got to take this spot, man. Because I'm not going to give it to the Neo Moon SMG. Bro, that gun is a potato. Alright, so now we move over into the kinetic side of things, where we're going to hop over to Savathun Throne World, visit our good old buddy Rolk into the Vow of the Disciple raid, as the SMG we're talking about now resides from that raid. That SMG being none other than the beautiful Submission, baby. The Submission is a 900 RPM lightweight frame SMG, just like the Prolonged Engagement, and unlike the Immortal, which is an aggressive frame 720 RPM. Probably should have said that in that segment, but I'm saying it now. The Submission also has an origin trait that I definitely want to mention in Soul Drinker. You gain health based on the number of hits before reloading, ranges between 20 to 80 HP for a full magazine. Now, if you pull up this gun's perk pool, you will see that this gun has some pretty good perks, especially for PvE. In the third column, you have two options. You have Subsistence, which is what I have on mine, or Overflow. Both perks are really good ammo perks, and you could definitely make the argument for a 900 RPM that Overflow might be better. You really can't go wrong with either of those two perks, as long as you're using one of those two perks, right? Now, in the fourth column, you do have Demolitionist, but we like Demo mainly in the third column. But the goated perk that we like to use on this SMG in the fourth column, say it with me now, homies, Frenzy! Got that frenzy action! Yes, indeed. The role that I'm using in the background is Subsistence and Frenzy, an absolute classic role for any PvE, primary, auto rifles, SMGs included. And this gun has a lot of things going for it. It has beautiful iron sights, sounds really good. I know, right? I'm rating a gun based off how it sounds when I shoot it. But hey, this Submission just sounds that good. It feels that good. It is that good. It also has bait and switch, but you're not using bait and switch on the SMG. And it has a few really, really good PvE perks, so it takes a spot of our kinetic SMG. Sorry, Escape Velocity, you had your reign. All right, everybody, so now we move to the light affinity SMGs, aka the SMGs that we use in the energy slot. And we're going to begin this section by talking about the ARC SMG of choice. We're talking about a classic of Destiny 2, so classic that it has been brought back twice and introduced once, for a total of 3 times. We're talking about none other than the Ikelos SMG, everybody's favorite 720 RPM aggressive frame SMG. In Season 19, Season of the Seraph, they reintroduced all of the Ikelos weapons, and they brought them back with some pretty good perks. The Ikelos SMG, if we just go ahead and throw this bad boy up on screen for you, you will see what this bad boy is packing. So in the first column, your two main PvE perks are Feeding Frenzy and Threat Detector. Shoot to Loot is here as well, but I feel like Shoot to Loot is better on weapons with a longer range than an SMG, so you can pick up heavy ammo or special ammo from an actual distance. So I'm not going to recommend Shoot to Loot on this weapon, but definitely Feeding Frenzy or Threat Detector. And then in the fourth column, you'll see what makes this gun the ARC SMG. It is Volt Shot, chilling at the bottom in the fourth column. Combine Volt Shot with Threat Detector or Feeding Frenzy, you're good to go. It does also have normal Frenzy. However, this is going to be one of the few weapons where I'm not going to recommend Frenzy, solely because this SMG has Volt Shot. This is the SMG to run Volt Shot on, and it's for good reason. You combine it with Feeding Frenzy, man, you're going to be proccing Volt Shot so often, reloading super fast, and it's a pretty nice chain to just keep running over and over again. And you keep jolting over and over again. If you get that reference, comment down below, because you're an OG. These days, if you don't have your pattern for this weapon, if you want to go about getting it, you're going to have to hit up the Operation Sheriff Shield exotic mission whenever it is in rotation for the exotic mission rotator. Really good SMG, and it's hard to find really anything negative about it. Alright, now we stare deep into the void of space, because these next two are going to be a little bit, I don't want to say controversial, but there's a little bit more spice to these next two categories. So, Void SMGs. You might be surprised what I'm going to have as my personal goated best SMG in the game. That is going to be none other than the Unforgiven. Yes, indeed, straight from the Duality Dungeon. This 720 aggressive frame RPM SMG is an absolute monster. This was my Starfire primary during the year of the Starfire, as this bad boy definitely has Demolitionist on it, and Demolitionist is in the third column, which is pretty nice. If I go ahead and pull up the rest of the perk pool, you'll see that primarily in the third column, there's really two main options. Feeding Frenzy could be pretty good, but you already know. Tried and true Demolitionist is the perk that I'm going to recommend from the third column, and in its fourth column, you have quite the amount of options if I'm being real with you. First of all, I gotta give a shout out to Frenzy. Demo Frenzy is the role that you're seeing me use in the background gameplay, and this was my Starfire SMG with Demo Frenzy, point blank period. Now, Frenzy isn't the only option in the fourth column. As you can see, you have some pretty good options if you, for some reason, don't like Frenzy. You got Adrenaline Junkie, which means this is a weapon that can roll both Demolitionist and Adrenaline Junkie. Pretty nice combo. It also has Golden Tricorn, which could be really good on maybe some controversial hold type of builds, maybe a Nothing Manacle build. I know G loves those Nothing Manacles, bruh. You also have Rampage, but I feel like Rampage gets outclassed, at least in this perk pool. And if you're going for a Void 3.0 build, hey man, it does have Repulsor Brace. A pretty nasty fourth column to choose from perk-wise. Now look, I already know some people are going to be like, no Funnel Web, are you crazy? No, I just have Funnel Web as an honorable mention here. I think Funnel Web is a great SMG. Absolutely amazing. My role for that SMG is Subsistence and Frenzy. I told you, bro, I love Frenzy. What can I say? But me personally, I just prefer the Unforgiven compared to the Funnel Web. Funnel Web is a 900 RPM, which everybody loves. But I can't talk about Void SMGs without giving a shout out to the Funnel Web. I'd be lying if I said that gun is bad. That gun is not bad. The gun is amazing. The best two Void SMGs in the game, in my opinion, are easily the Unforgiven and the Funnel Web. I don't care that the Hero's Burden has destabilizing round. I don't care. Funnel Web or Unforgiven, any day, all day. Me personally, my favorite is the Unforgiven. Alright, so now we gotta bring the heat and talk solar SMGs. Look, I sat for like 10-15 minutes just trying to, like, I was borderline about to flip a coin deciding which one of the SMGs I was going to feature here. But truth be told, there's really only two with an honorable mention. I'm going with the Bug Out Bag from Season 21, at least its reprise version. So the Bug Out Bag is a 900 RPM adaptive frame SMG, meaning it has a little bit more impact than traditional 900s. The main comparison is going to be the Callus Mini Tool. The Callus Mini Tool does a little bit less damage than the Bug Out Bag does. The Bug Out Bag has 20 impact. The Callus Mini Tool has 15. And not only that, the Bug Out Bag does also have a little bit more range than the Callus Mini Tool does as well. If we look at the Bug Out Bag's perk pool, you'll see that it does have some pretty decent perks in the third column. The main one that I'm looking at is Subsistence, because in the fourth column it has Incandescent, which is the only perk I'm going to recommend from this gun's fourth column. Subsistence Incandescent is a really nice combo. I feel like some people out there really like Gutshot Straight as well. Me personally, I'm not going to recommend that. If you like it, bro, you do your thing, homie. But the main desired role for this SMG has got to be Subsistence and Incandescent. Subsistence does proc off of incandescent kills, mainly the ignitions that the incandescent can get. And this bad boy is going to be great on any solar build, especially if you're using something like Ember of Empyrean to continuously extend both Radiant and Restoration. Really good in that department solely because it's a solar weapon and it's a really good SMG. I'm not going to just ignore the Callus Mini Tool because, like I said earlier, dude, these two weapons feel so similar to one another, right? If we go ahead and pull up the Callus Mini Tools perk pool, the truest form of a pea shooter that we have in this game, there's 3 perks in the third column that people like to choose. If you run a melee build, let's just say you're on a Bonk Titan, you're probably going to run Grave Robber. And then the other 2 perks that people like to toggle between is either Threat Detector, or Unrelenting. I know people like Unrelenting because it can help keep you alive, but because these are solar SMGs, what does solar have access to? Restoration, and ×2 restoration. You know, the most busted healing effect in the entire game. So if you're on an actual solar build, bro, I'm not going to recommend Unrelenting. Maybe if you're not on a solar build, you don't have access to restoration like that, Unrelenting would be kind of useful. Although, on some other subclasses, you probably have other weapons you may want to use, other forms of healing, but Unrelenting is still good. I just prefer Threat Detector on my Callus over Unrelenting. And yes, you run Incandescent on the Callus Mini Tool. There's no other fourth column perk. This is a craftable SMG, and because of that, you can actually get enhanced Incandescent. I know that is going to be a pretty big factor when determining which of these SMGs is quote unquote better than the other. I personally think the bug out bag is a bit better just because it actually does a little bit extra damage, and there's some instances where some enemies have like an incy bits of their health bar where I'm like, wow, bro, see if I was using bug out bag, they would have been dead. But because Callus has 15 impact and is the truest form of a pea shooter, you can definitely feel it slow down against some healthier enemies. That being said, these are definitely the best solar SMGs in the game in my opinion. My honorable mention I have here, I have to mention it, is the No Survivors. That is the aggressive frame 720 RPM SMG from the Ghosts of the Deep Dungeon that can roll Demolitionist in the third column and Incandescent in the fourth, making it the only demo Incandescent SMG in the game at the moment. Figured I had to mention that. But overall, between these SMGs, my personal preference is the bug out bag, but the Callus Mini Tool, it's right there. Like, you could really flip a coin when determining which one of these two SMGs is better than the other. Let me know down in the comments which solar SMG that you like the best. Also, these days, if you do want to go ahead and get your Callus Mini Tool pattern, you got to hit up the Presage Exotic Mission whenever it is part of the Exotic Mission Rotator. And there we go, everybody. That is the list. The SMGs to dominate in-game PvE. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on it down below in the comments, along with your personal list as well. Maybe your favorite SMG didn't make the cut. Sorry, G. That's how they crumble cookies. I've always wanted to say that in a video. I'm leaving that in. Remember, if you ever want to get your games in the DLC for a cheaper price, head over to Instant Gaming along with their free monthly game giveaway. Links at the top of the description. Feel free to leave me suggestions for what weapon class you want to see next. You guys be safe, take care, consider subscribing, and we'll see you in the next one.